So my name is Jeffrey Zwillenberg. I'm the National Director for Program and City Team Operations, and I work for New Leaders, which is a national education nonprofit that was founded in 2000. And our work is really focused on finding exceptional leaders and putting them into the lowest performing schools across the country. Yeah, so we're at the Union Mill building in the Hampden neighborhood of Baltimore. And what brought us here ultimately was we were really looking for a place where we could work and be able to engage with other nonprofits in the city, and to do so in a way that was conducive to the way we work on a day-to-day basis. So what that means is when we come to work every day, we're coming to a building where other nonprofits who are looking to create change for kids in Baltimore City are engaged in that work as well. And whether it's through education, after-school programming, disability services, regardless of what the work is, all of them are centered around creating change for kids and families in Baltimore City. What's beneficial about Union Mill is it's been able to take advantage of two really key pieces. So first, it's easy access to 83, and so people can easily get here. The other piece is having the light rail as something that's available. It creates a new dialogue, right? So for someone who maybe traditionally is going to be driving in from outside of the city, whether they're coming from the north or the south, the light rail now becomes a viable option, and it gets to be something where they can consider it. So one really easy example for us is we take Amtrak very often down, whether it's down to DC through the MARC or up into New York. You can take the light rail to Penn Station. So there's a $5 cab ride that you don't have to deal with anymore, and now you're using public transportation. Hampden's a fairly small neighborhood, and because of the emergence of Clipper Mill and just all of the businesses and restaurants and housing going on in the area, people drove by this building all of the time, and it was simply the building next to the Pepsi plant, right? So the fact that it took an existing structure, a massive existing structure, and repurposed it, you know, why tear it down? Like, it's a perfectly fine building that just needed the work in order to make it possible so that people could live and work and play in the space. So I think that even when you drive around Baltimore City, regardless of the different neighborhoods, we have existing structures all over the city that simply remain vacant. And so the idea that we could take these places that are historic and very, very beautiful and repurpose them rather than tearing down, rather than putting in new spaces. It's more money, it's more construction, it's more waste. Why not repurpose them when ultimately aesthetically pleasing, you know, and from an aesthetic point of view, I mean, look around us, like who wouldn't want to come work in a building like this versus a brand new construction? I think that it says a lot about just the area that we're in. I think it also says a lot about the idea that we're going to incentivize for developers to go think about how do we repurpose these spaces when housing, work, you know, living and life have come up around them. I think that even the goal of the mayor to see an increase in the city population, I mean, that's one of the big problems and one of the challenges with any government agency in the city. If you don't have the tax base, how do you ultimately go and get the revenue in order to make the changes we need? So again, places like Union Mill, Miller's Court, other development projects where you're getting to actually market people from the suburbs, from outside of Baltimore City, is bringing people in, which puts kids in schools, puts people in jobs, and ultimately makes the city better. I think a sustainable community, to me, and even to the organization, means that we're using a space in a way that is maximizing its efficiencies, that's maximizing what already exists, right? So we teach our principals when they go into a school, you want to find what works, right? You want to take advantage of those successes and those things that are in place and leverage them. And then you can go focus on the places that need the repair, that need the transformation, that need the turnaround. So in a place like this, you have a beautiful building. You have a prime location. You have a tax credit that's going to incentivize a developer to move in this direction. Why would it be any wonder that they go do it? Yeah, I think it does mean smart growth, right? Because at the end of the day, so this used to be a vacant building next to the Pepsi plant. And when we first moved here in December of 2011, that's what I had to keep saying. We're next to the Pepsi plant. I don't have to say that anymore. The neighborhood doesn't say that anymore. The people who come and work and live here don't say that anymore. It's Union Mill. Oh, and isn't that near the Pepsi plant? Yeah, but the Pepsi plant's near Union Mill. So it's really changed the conversation. And I think that the idea that it's looked at a place where people are already living, it looked at a place that was highly accessible. I mean, we can see the light rail over my shoulder. Like, that's not something that's always easy and accessible, right? And I know that in Baltimore City, the light rail, you know, unless you're living close to it or working close to it, it doesn't always provide all of the transportation that people are looking for. Like, here's a place where, like, why would you go anywhere else? It's across the street. It's right there. That's more than 20% of our people are getting to use public transportation. And that's one office out of a whole building of offices. So, you know, while I can't speak to other office, you know, other nonprofits and people in the building, our one office, more than 20% of our staff are using public transportation. And I guess I would also have to include me. I walk. So I don't drive. I don't need light rail. I simply walk to work. So, you know, getting to do that, and I used to drive. And even though my drive was 5 minutes and probably the shortest commute anyone can have, I now walk. So my car sits on our street. It just sits there. It's been 6 months since I've had an oil change. So getting to walk while the weather's wonderful, like, I'm just gonna have to buy a new winter coat during the winter when it gets cold. 16 months, and we're operational, right? So now it's, all right, well, we gotta all step up our game and start moving in that direction. Because again, like, why wait? What are we waiting for, right? Whether it's tax credits, whether it's the challenge from the mayor to see the number of families moving back to the cities, whether it's creating change for the kids in Baltimore City public schools, why wait? Like, I don't know where we all got complacent. So let's go make the change.